Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the morning show. Happy Thursday. Big day in the market. Big day for us on the channel. Lots to discuss. Earnings coming out of every direction. Tesla last night, Microsoft, Meta, MasterCard this morning, Caterpillar this morning. Got some big names. Apple tonight. Lots to discuss on that front. We'll have Jeff Mackey stop in. No, he probably wants to talk about Starbucks' report from the other day. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk to Sean. It's Thursday, and you got new options with Sean. So busy day, much to do. Good morning. Yes, and of course, gold, silver. When will they stop? Never. They will never stop. That's the answer. So you're welcome. All right. I think Strazza is hunkered down, getting ready for his live event today, which we'll talk about. But I have JC in the house. So, JC, I'm bringing you out. Here we go.
And we're back on the morning show. What is up, my friends? When in doubt, zoom out. Listen, guys, that is the cheat code. You know, people are like, oh, what's the cheat code in the market? Zoom out. Tomorrow's a very special day, Mr. Spencer Israel. You know why it is such a special day? Tell the folks.
It is the last day of the first month of the 26th year of this century.
That's right. As January goes, so goes the rest of the year is how I learned it. That's how I learned it, Mr. Spencer Israel, in the old Stock Traders Almanac. Big shout out to our friend Jeff Hirsch. You know, I got like burner accounts where I go see all these fake social media companies, right? So see what's going on, making sure I'm spending my time in the right place. Man, it is depressing out there.
It's nice that you can admit that. Yeah.
Dude, it is like these fake social media accounts. It's just like this echo chamber of like angry people that are just talking to themselves, while like on Twitter, you know, people are having like actual meaningful conversations with real engagement. Like it is really depressing. Like I would encourage you to not do that, right? Like don't go and look at these fake social media companies. Man, it is bad. So
I will tell you, for whatever it's worth, that on Reddit, 95% of the posts right now are about gold and silver. That's it. Nobody cares about stocks. What stocks? What the hell is a stock? We don't care about that. It's gold. It's silver.
Don't do it.
That's it.
Don't do it. Also, I would, you know, here at Stock Market TV, you know, we've been building out our community over time. And, you know, to me, probably the biggest lesson is we're not trying to replace Twitter, right? This is complementary. This is complementary to what's going on Twitter. This is a beautiful community. Big shout out to everybody on the morning show. Chat, what's up, guys? Love you guys. You guys are the best. So again, you know, we have our community here at Stock Market TV. You know, we all met on Twitter, all of us, like literally all of us. We all met over the last 10, 15 years or so. So big shout out. Twitter articles, very cool. The Twitter analytics continues to be very cool. So it's really cool what Twitter's doing. Other companies are not doing that. They're just getting worse. It's pretty gross out there. So big shout out to the team at X. Big shout out to the team here at Stock Market TV. Very complimentary. I just wanted to share. I was kind of looking around this week and kind of seeing what's going on, because I haven't heard. I'm not going to mention any names. There's no reason to, but I haven't heard these names of these fake social media companies in quite some time. So I went and looked. Woo-wee. It is not good. So love you guys. Listen, we got things moving. Can we? By the way, on the community, can we just show slide 3 here?
I don't know.
You know,
can we show slide 3 here?
Throw slide 3.
That's a bad picture.
Why?
I don't know. We're all doing weird things. I don't know. Weird faces.
So this is the team. Spencer, for some reason, thinks it's a bad picture. I don't know what's so bad about it. This is a beautiful picture of, a lot of the team. It's not everybody, but it's a lot of the team here at Stock Market TV. Great crew. What's so bad about it?
It's just a weird. You and Steve and Mary look okay. Everyone else is looking like, and Alfonso looks normal.
What about Louis? Louis in the upper left. Sean looks weird.
Sean looks weird. I look weird.
Jason Purrs flexing.
Daniel looks weird. Jason looks weird. Rick
is covering his face.
Okay. Right? I don't know.
You can't even see.
Can't see
Izzy. Yeah. You got Danny Spider Crusher there next to Mary. Danny doesn't get a lot of FaceTime around here. Danny's behind the scenes. Danny's helping to make all this happen. So big shout out. Big shout out to Danny, aka Spider Crusher.
Yeah. Danny Jassy, no relation to the CEO of Amazon, by the way.
None, but he won't start with that. He'll let you think that maybe they're related just in case.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk markets. We got much to do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the Dow doing nothing this morning. Absolutely nothing. 49,200. Pretty flat today. That's 800 points from 50,000 there, Spencer Israel, just for you math majors. You got the S&P 500 futures still above 7,000, up a smidge, 7,022 for the S&P. NASDAQ 100 futures up a little bit as well, 26,190, 33 handles this morning. 30-year bond futures doing nothing, just under 115. Crude oil, hello, up 3%, $65 a barrel for the old crude oil. Copper, I had to do a double take this morning. Copper's up 9.5%.
Yep.
9.5% for copper. That's $6.50 an ounce for copper. Wow. Gold up almost 4% this morning. $55.50 for gold. Yes, that's right. $5,550 an ounce. Silver also up 5%, just under 120, $119.30 an ounce for silver. Wow. With the VIX, I will say it again, still above 16. How is that even possible? Over in funny money land, you got Bitcoin just under 88,000, down 1,200 points on the day. You got Ethereum 2930, down 2.5% on the day. Solana 122 and change, down 2% on the day. It brings the total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, down to 2.95 trillion. Down to 2.95 trillion. What stands out from this morning's futures? And if you don't say copper, you're crazy.
It's the metals. It's every day, and I'm looking for a different copper chart now because my main chart only goes back to 2003. So
if it happened before 2003, it didn't happen, right, Spencer? Throw up slide 8. I think this tells a pretty interesting story as to what's happening. This is a big one. Throw up the old Brazil. So what are we looking at here, guys? We're looking at the Brazilian Bovespa, Índice Bovespa, hitting new all-time highs this morning. Last I checked, it was up 1.5%. Is that still the case? It is not the case, actually. It's actually off its highs somewhat there on the Bovespa. But nevertheless, new all-time highs today for the Bovespa, and then the Brazil ETF, EWZ, which of course is priced in US dollars, is hitting new multi-year highs as we speak. So what does that mean? Well, it probably means that we should be long Brazilian stocks. Fortunately, we have been. Sold the double in the PAGS, right? PagSeguro. I think it's like a software company down there. We got the PAGS, we got the NU, we got the Stone Co. Got some Brazilian exposure. Looking for more Brazilian exposure. I'd love some. Picked up some MLPs yesterday. The kids these days, they're not calling them MLPs anymore, Spencer. They call them midstreams. They call them midstreams. I bought a stock yesterday that pays a 9% dividend. How about that? So adding to that oil and gas exposure.
Well, that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? Is the dividend.
The point for what?
That's the whole point of an MLP is the dividend, right?
Oh, well, maybe for some people. I like selling assets at higher prices than where I buy them. So the dividends for me is a nice to have. If I'm shorting a stock, I would prefer there not to be a dividend, but I'm not going to not short a stock because I got to pay the carry. And then also, I'm not going to buy a stock because of the dividend. The fact that I'm long the stock and it pays a 9% dividend, I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it, but if it was 0, I'd still put it on, right? You see what I'm saying?
Sure, I hear you.
Is that all right?
That's fair. Hey, do we have any of those earnings charts? Do we have a Tesla handy or a Microsoft or a Meta? If so,
tell me what happened. So as somebody who's got their ear to the ground, Mr. Spencer Israel, focusing on what's happening at the earnings front, you got Tesla up 2%, well on its way to being the most valuable company in the world.
This Tesla report was interesting. I mean, from a headline standpoint, the biggest thing that I saw was that they are going to cease production of the Model S and the Model X cars, and they're going to convert all that capacity to the humanoid robot that they're going to make. So they're going to be making fewer cars and more robots. So that's cool.
When do you think I'm going to get my robot? Realistically,
dude, I have no idea. You don't know how many tweets I've seen in the last few months just listing off Elon's like promises and his guesses about when things are going to launch, and every deadline gets missed. It's impossible to say.
And my wife is not going to let me have the robot in the house, right? She says it's not going to happen. So I'm building a new office out in the backyard, right? Like a whole new structure, and I think I'm going to keep the robot in there.
I would actually be very curious to see what the prediction markets have to say about both the robots and also whether Tesla is actually going to stop production of these cars, or maybe they'll just like pause it and then come back if demand for robots is low. I don't know, but
the robots are essentially making the cars, which is fantastic, right?
No. Well, now robots are going to be making robots, JC. That's kind of the whole point here.
Right, but you got to make the robots to make the cars, right? So you could get the humans out of there with their unions and all this nonsense and their cigarette breaks and all this shit and their vacations. Like the robots could just work 24/7, right? You don't got to deal with the unions. That's pretty great, right?
Sure. So the Tesla report was frankly very interesting. I mean, from a financial standpoint, there are things not to like. There's always things not to like about Tesla from a financial standpoint. So nothing really changed there, right? The revenue did decline year over year, which is interesting. But again, it's not valued like a car company. We know this. It's valued as a AI robot company, and they're trying to pivot to robots. So
well, I mean, that makes sense because Tesla's worth more than every single car company in the world combined. So clearly, it's not being valued as a car company.
Clearly. Yeah, I would say
getting some chatter here in the chat. There will be a lot of regulation before you get one, JC. I reckon we already have regulation in my own house as far as these robots are concerned. So I have no doubt that there will be additional regulatory authorities stepping in, getting in the way of me and my robots. My wife here, you know, the old boss of the household, telling me no robots in the kitchen. I'm like, but babe, the robot can make us coffee. She goes, I can make my own coffee, is what she tells me. All
right. Yeah. So Tesla.
Like, imagine waking up and the robot has the coffee for you, and like the kids' breakfast already ready, and like, you know, doing the laundry, and like,
yeah, you know, man, I've seen bikes
like giving you a spot, like spotting you when you're doing bench press, like heavy bench press, you get a spot going. You know, like there are times where like you wish that there was something or somebody there to help you do something, take out the trash, right? I got 3 kids. I got so much trash, dude. You know, I look at it as like an extra workout. You know, after I finish dinner, I'm taking all these, you know, I'm doing bicep curls on the way out to the curb. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can get the robot to do that for me, like there's like a lot of things. The robot can mow the lawn. The robot can pick up the leaves. So, you know, we don't have to hire people to do that.
All right. So we know JC wants it. We don't know if there's like broad-based demand for these robots, but I guess we'll find out. We'll also find out if they'll even be able to deliver them eventually. So that's the question is when robot, and we don't really have an answer right now.
Yeah, Chris goes to saying, wow, didn't even think about the personal trainer robot. Yeah, I'm going to be running in my neighborhood with my robot, and my robot's going to be like, all right, JC, pick up the pace, JC. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, robot, see if you can catch me. And the robot kicks me in the ass, you know, something like that, right? Like if there's like if we can get like a robot from like Staten Island or like Queens, that's just like a ball buster, just like always breaking balls, like that would be pretty hilarious, right? Just kind of like witty, you know, ball busting from the robot all day. You're like,
Yeah.
JC, you can eat another cookie? Yeah. Another one? You haven't, don't you think you've had enough cookies, JC? You know, like shit like that. That'd be funny, right?
Sure, it would be. So I don't know what the expected move was on for Tesla. But it's up 1% today so far. So I'm imagining whatever the expected move was is more than that. So I would call this a muted reaction thus far. That
I
being
have
said,
it up 2%. What about the old Microsoft?
whatever, 1.5%.
Microsoft down 6%. 6%,
Yeah.
that's what, like $150 billion in market cap wiped out in a couple of minutes? Is that the story there?
Yeah, Microsoft and Meta kind of doing opposite things this morning. Honestly, and this is what Steve will talk about later today. The reaction tells you all you need to know. Like if you look at the numbers from Microsoft, I mean, first off, there's a lot of numbers to look at, right? If you look at just the headline and even just drill down into the segments, most of it was good, right? Like the vast majority of what they said, I thought was good, but the reaction tells you all you need to know, right? So stock is down this morning. Whatever they beat on the top, bottom line, whatever. But it's all about the reaction in the context of the numbers. So, and Meta, same thing, right? I mean, they both kind of said the same thing, which is that like AI, the demand is growing. They're spending way more money. Their reports, like the broad themes of their reports were the same, right? AI is crazy expensive. We're still seeing demand. We still have to spend more money on CapEx, blah, 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 right? That's pretty much it. And
drop the link for today at 2:00, where Strazza is going to walk through. Strazza's people in the chat missing Strazza. They want Strazza to come back. Strazza will be back tomorrow.
Yeah,
you can catch Strazza today, saving his voice for the big presentation, the big rollout. I mean, he's been working on this. He says 3 years, but I've seen him work on it for even longer than that. This thing's cost a fortune to put together. A lot of man hours. This is tough to do, but the team got it done. So big shout out to the Beat team. So I hear it's being referred to as the Beat team. I like that.
I did hear that. In
fact,
I found that in Slack the other day.
Yeah, I'm into that.
There's a channel. There's a private channel for the Beat team, which you and I are not in.
I am not privy to that channel. But big shout out to the team. So 2:00 today. Click the link in the description. Catch us there. Steve Strazza is going to walk through exactly how to trade earnings. And these are, it's funny because like the reason that this is created this way is to solve for the problem that we've all had. All of us have had this problem where we think a stock is going to go up and we think the earnings are going to be great. And we buy the call options going into the earnings. The earnings are in fact great. They beat on the top. They beat on the bottom. The guidance is higher. Everything's fantastic. Stock sells off and the options get wiped out. We've all been there. And that sucks. That's no fun at all. Right? So you got to realize that that's not what makes stocks move. It's not beating earnings. It's not beating the top line. It's not guiding higher. It's the market's reaction. So that's really what the focus on here. And big shout out to the team. So I'll see you there at 2:00.
Yeah. And in that same vein, it's also like, oh, I don't understand why the stock is up. It should be down or vice versa, right? It should be down when it's up. I don't understand. This makes no sense. The market is irrational because the numbers were great. I don't get why the stock is down, right? And again, there's so much more to it than that. There's first off, there's the earnings versus the guidance, but then there's also the sentiment coming into the report, and there's the comps from last time, and then there's overall market sentiment, and then there's positioning, and then there's a whole lot that goes into the reaction. It's not as simple as, and I'm talking to myself here because I was a slave to this way of thinking for a very long time, and I wasted many, many hours of my life.
It's a terrible way to go through life, thinking that earnings are what drives stock prices. It's a foolish way to go through life. Can you throw up the Meta? Because the Meta, on a brighter note here on the large cap growth, is up almost 10% this morning. 9.5% of upside here on the old Meta. Woo-wee! Right now in the pre-market, trading at 732. Looking to fill that gap from the last earnings when this thing sold off at the beginning of November. What a move. What a move. And you're seeing you're seeing just in general a lot of strength out there in mega cap growth, which is not something that, you know, we've seen, right? It's been a minute. Can you throw up slide 4 there? Throw up the old slide 4. So here we're looking at technology relative. Sorry. Here we go. Let's see. And then the new, and then I'll throw up the semis after that. So we're looking at the equally weighted technology index making new all-time highs yesterday, right? So from a broad-based standpoint, technology continuing to act well, and then technology on an equally weighted basis relative to the equally weighted S&P 500 also looking pretty attractive, right? Very constructive, looking to resolve this consolidation higher in the direction of the primary trend, which is perfectly normal. And if you guys can throw up the new slide 6 there, you're looking at tech relative to the S&P and then semis relative. So just refresh that. So semiconductors yesterday, semiconductors closed at their highest levels ever for the SMH. Highest levels ever for semiconductors. And on a relative basis, semiconductors relative to the S&P 500 also closed at a new all-time high. So I'll ask you, Spencer Israel, do you think it is a good bet to make that the black line won't do what the blue line is already doing? Is that the bet you think investors should be making here?
That the black line will not do what the blue line is already doing. No, I mean, it probably will. That would make the most sense. It'd be weird if it didn't, right?
That's what I'm saying. Guys, think about this. You can't have technology without semiconductors, right? We look to semiconductors as a leading indicator.
I was just going to say follow it really is simple. Just follow the leaders. Whatever the leaders do, follow the leaders. So
150%.
In this sector, what's the leader? It's semis.
I would argue that semiconductors are the most important industry group in the world.
Every sector has a leader within it, right?
Semiconductors, absolutely the leader, not just in technology, but as an industry group. It is the most important industry group in the world, right? And it closed at the highest levels ever yesterday on an absolute basis, and the highest levels ever relative to the S&P 500. So I look at the broader technology index, the equally weighted technology, also hitting new all-time highs. So then I'm thinking technology relative to the rest of the market should be getting going. I got some stats for you on technology, Spencer. A couple of quick stats. Technology lost it was about 6%, 6.5% from when DeSantis was trolling the mega caps, right? At the end of October, fell 6% into the lows last week. Since the 20th, since last Tuesday, was that last Tuesday, the 20th? Yeah. Since last Tuesday, technology is up over 5% on an absolute basis. Technology, the worst performer from the end of October through last week, worst performer in the market, up 5% since then. Sector rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market. And when we saw small cap tech hitting all-time highs, equally weighted tech hitting all-time highs, semis hitting all-time highs, it's like, well, is mega cap tech going to do the opposite and roll over, or should it catch up? And we're talking about the higher probability outcome, of course, to be higher. And that's exactly what we've seen. So big shout out there. Big shout out to sector rotation, the lifeblood, my friends, of the bull market. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah. What are some examples of some other leaders within other sectors?
Well, healthcare is a little bit weird because biotechnology is like the furthest out on the risk curve, but they're more the little guys, not the bigger guys. So it's almost like two different sectors. In industrials, you have like the engineering and machinery.
Well, Rick says aerospace and defense.
Well, there's sometimes like this cycle, yes.
Yeah.
Right. But not every cycle. Semiconductors is more consistent, right? So when you go sector in financials, regional banks, if they're doing well, how bad could things be for the banks, right? But this cycle hasn't been that way. right? Regional banks have been the laggard until more recently. You go to energy where you have things like, the refiners have been the leader this cycle. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're always the leader, though, right? I would argue maybe oil services are probably a better heads up as to what's happening in the energy space. I'll let the energy experts chime in there. When you look at materials, the leaders have been metals and mining. But you can argue that the leaders in other cycles have been the chemicals, right? So it changes. With technology is unique in that the leadership group is the semiconductors, right? That is the leading indicator, which is why, in my humble opinion, the semiconductors are the most important industry group in the world. Speaking of humble opinions, I got the best chart in the world right now. Slide 2.
I don't know. We got some good charts here from Jeff.
This is the best chart in the world. I don't care who says otherwise. If you think this is not the most important chart in the world, you're crazy.
I need you to explain to a layman like myself why this relationship matters. Because I don't need this chart to tell me the energy is going up right now.
You just need common sense, right?
Yeah.
To your point. And you have that.
So I don't know why I should care about energy versus TLT.
This chart goes back 20 years, right? Okay. And, we've argued here and debated about whether if energy is going to get a bid, what that means for interest rates. In my opinion, it's been that interest rates are going to go higher, which they have been. It's hilarious that as soon as the Fed started lowering rates stopped going down and have been going straight up ever since, right? So if energy is going to go, which I bought 2 more energy stocks yesterday and I was already in. So I'm in. So I am clearly betting that energy stocks are going to go a lot higher. And so if energy stocks are going to go a lot higher, what does that mean for interest rates? In my opinion, it probably means higher rates, means lower bond prices. So when you look at a ratio of the energy sector, large cap energy, a lot of Chevron, a lot of Conoco, ExxonMobil, relative to U.S. Treasury bonds going out on the further end of the curve, right? Letting supply and demand do its thing, not the communists at the Federal Reserve, but actual supply and demand. What are we looking at? We're looking at the highest close ever yesterday. Highest close ever yesterday. So energy is not just doing well on an absolute basis. In fact, energy has not even made a new all-time high yet. It's awfully close. How close are we to a new all-time high there for energy? Pretty freaking close. I mean, have we? Have we done it? Hold on. Did we do it yesterday? I don't think so.
Oh, no.
No, right?
No. We are close, but 2014.
Yeah, 2014. We're still not there. But relative to bonds, already hitting new all-time highs. Look at this as a leading indicator. I think there's a lot more upside coming in energy. And I don't know if you've noticed. But gold went, silver went, copper went and continues to go. And so when you look at every commodity super cycle ever, you see all those things. And then what comes after that is energy. So the logical outcome here, based on history, would be for energy to be next. And so that's the bet that we've been making. And so far it's working. And we want to do more of what's working and less of what's not. Hence why I bought 2 more energy stocks yesterday.
All right. That makes sense. Leading indicator. I hear you.
So this is, in my opinion, the most important chart in the world. Right here, right now. I couldn't even tell you what number 2 is. Maybe semis making all-time highs, kind of a big deal too. But that's old news. That's been happening, right? This one here is something that we have never seen ever. And, as Spencer likes to say so eloquently, anything that happened before 2015 didn't happen. So this is new to a lot of players out there. A lot of players were not around last cycle, or I shouldn't say last cycle, a lot of cycles ago. Last up cycle for energy. They weren't around. They weren't. I was there. It was wild. Those were wild times, man. I was a real gold bug, or so I thought. As it turns out, I was just a trend follower. But at the time, I thought it was a gold bug.
All right, let's find out what Kenny's trading, and then I want to talk to Jeff.
Bring him out.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my clock, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
So, what's up, 82? Yo! Backspin. You got windmills? You got windmills?
Dude, I got my up rock. I got the up rock going. You know what I'm saying? No, you know, I never had the athleticism to be a good break dancer, right? Like every party we used to go to in 7th grade, you know, there was that kid who was just nasty, doing headstands, flips, you know, on his head, no helmet, nothing, just spinning around on his head.
Oh, yeah.
I was fascinated by the whole
somebody
thing.
with that nerdy kid who doesn't do anything suddenly starts busting out robots, and he's like breaking it down. He's breaking his ankles, and it starts. Oh man, yes.
I had my arm around the pretty girl, watching the kids, you know, on the ground there. You know, I had to shoot my shot, right? I wasn't gonna, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't do those things, so I had to spit on the backside, just watching the show. You know,
I still got I still could do a backspin right now, but I'm not going to try that right now without my Ben Gay and an action.
I had a decent up rock though. I could do okay, but once you got on the ground, it was an embarrassment.
But you weren't even alive in '82, were you?
I wasn't alive in '82, but I remember vividly in 6th and 7th grade parties, like dance parties with DJs, like, you know, PLAY if you play with me.
Oh,
right?
shit. Nice. I came out after I was done with my Haftorah. I had my Adidas jumpsuit. We came out, me and my friends, thinking we were all breakdancing. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Some of these kids back in the day were very athletic. You know, they were like gymnasts and stuff like that, doing all kinds of stuff. I couldn't. Can you do a good worm? Can you do a good? I can never do the worm.
I could break a rib right now, but I could probably rock it.
Yeah, I've broken too many ribs. You know, I remember playing softball back in my my late 20s. You know, corporate softball, and I'm diving for balls on the third base line, and I'm like breaking my ribs. I'm like, what the fuck am I even doing? Like, what am I doing? That was the end of my softball career.
Oh my God, we're short the cues again right now.
Are you?
Yeah. So a lot of cross currents going on. The funny thing is, I shorted some silver yesterday. Luckily, we covered and got out of the way. But we've been shorting silver in the cues, which is ironic because we're in this market that doesn't want to go down. But we're seeing a lot of different things going on this morning. You know, Tesla up, IBM up. Then you got Meta getting crushed. Microsoft getting crushed. And there's just a lot of cross currents. But right now, we just got confirmation for a new short on the cues. And
show me. Let's see it.
Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, let's get those. Oh, I think I blew up the charts. Where are they? Oh, there they are. And right now, service now, baby, now, right now is a long. So if you guys are in the now, please do the right thing. 119 entry, 121.50 sold to you. You'd be on the offer right there. So this is the service now trade.
I like that trade because this thing's getting destroyed.
I love it when they get destroyed. When they're down all pre-market and you get the little faux show. Look how they tried to wick them out. Back above VWAP. That's your classic. Fake them out, shake them out. VWAP break. I'm buying right here, the 119.50. Selling to you right here at 121.50. Sold to you, 121.50. Sold. There you go. Now 122. Get on the offer, my friends. Well done.
122 gets you 128.
Hopefully 122.50 gets you 125. But yeah. And here's the Tesla, not in this one. If I was awake a little bit early, I'd probably be crushing this bad boy right now. Clean VWAP break, headed down to the orange line. But it's right now, I go with the Qs. When all these big QQQ companies report, I usually stick with the Qs. I had a little short, wound up getting stopped out flat, just got re-entered a little bit now. It's been a difficult trade. So, again, the service now is a lot better. And as far as the silver is concerned, yesterday we had, again, it was a moment. We all shared it together and we shorted some silver. We all held hands and sang Kumbaya. But, again, it worked. Let me show you the trade on the VWAP. So, again, I was doing this. If you guys join me, thank you very much for joining me on that little broadcast I did at 1:30. Blue line to orange line. It works on commodities also. So right there, if you would have why you're getting into a trade and where it's probably going to go to, it's kind of what all day trading is about. And of course, if you get to the blue line and get to the orange line, we're not covering all of it there. We're getting out of 50% because that's the hard work, and then getting stopped out back above blue. So yeah, you're going to have to eat the short, but do not stay short this thing on this monster run that we had to 120. And again, congratulations, everybody. 50 got us 80, 80 got us 120. So I'm very happy right now we got to the 120. If we consolidate up here, my friends, I think we go 150, 180, 250. Yes, I'll say it out loud. Manifest that, baby. Silver to 250. I'll say it. So big fan. But right now, it's all Qs. If you're shorting Tesla, congratulations. If you're in the service now, we just cashed out of a big chunk of it. And but I still like it. You know, again, if it pulls back, holds that 119 area, we got another shot at it, maybe another rebuy if you have sold it. And there's just so much to look at. Who even looks at IBM anymore? We do. You know, again, just trailing down. Just got to wait. I want to see if it tests VWAP and rolls, possible short in IBM. It's just so much activity going on. It is the greatest time to be a trader, my friends. It really is.
So yes, you've been saying it's the greatest time to be a trader as long as I've known you. And I love that about you, Kenny. I love your consistency, right? Consistency. And then you go, no, but this time really is the best.
This time is different. This is the most important earnings season of all time.
And then 6 months from now, you're going to be like, the best time to be a day trader. I know how this works. I get it. I love you for it, Kenny. I love you. Let me tell you something. This silver, throw up the silver. Let me tell you something. This silver short could make the year. Could make the year. I am not short silver. I have sold.
Not now. I mean,
it's making all-time highs right now. I am not short to be clear. Yeah. I am not advising anybody to get short. I am simply stating basic arithmetic here that the silver short could make your year when it comes. My crystal ball's in the shop. I don't know when the collapse is coming. It's coming. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be historic. The dollar is going to rip in everybody's face. It is going to cause complete mayhem all over the place. And I have no idea when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And I am not in the trade. To be clear, I am not short silver here. I am not advising people to short silver here. I am just telling you it's coming. And I could smell it. And maybe it comes from 121. Maybe it comes from 150. Maybe silver goes to 200 and then crashes. I have no idea. But there's an opportunity and there's a storm brewing out there that if you nail it, could make your year. And it is still January. So not bad to make your year in the first month. Just saying. There's an opportunity to be had out there. The options market's probably not the best way to play it. It's probably the futures.
The AGQ premium is insane. Absolutely insane. If you're brave enough to sell premium, obviously you don't want to get in the way right now, but when we roll over, and again, yesterday was that moment where, hey, is this going to happen? And it didn't. And that's why we covered. And again, there's going to be that day where nobody knows when it's going to come. But when it comes, it will be epic. It's going to be a 20%. It's going to be officially a crash. We're going to get a 20% rollover. But I still think that's going to be a buying opportunity. Again, bring it. I can't wait to see what happens next. And again, everyone and their mother is talking about silver right now. So that's usually bearish. I don't go to a barber shop anymore, but if the barber was telling me about the silver that he owns, we're in trouble, or the Uber driver. So people are calling me whether or not they should sell their forks and knives. We're almost there. People are digging through drawers. My mom is literally digging through drawers looking for stuff. And God bless my mom. She found 1895 gold coins from Russia. So yes, I'm very excited to go to my mom's house. So, all right, let me go.
What do you think, Kenny? Go follow Kenny. Go join him in the VWAP room. What a great name for a room.
Speaking of that, before I go, bring me back. Email me. We're going to schmooze tonight for the first time of the year. It's the opening day schmooze. So if you guys want to join us, we'll be talking all this stuff all night. I'm going to bring on the only analyst that I trust, my secret weapon, who's been talking about this amazing uranium trade that we're in. And by the way, if anybody's in DNN, congratulations. You are at 15-year highs. This thing looks awesome. DNN, where are my bag holders in DNN?
That's the Denison mines, right?
Yes. If you've been
I'm a
bag holding,
junkie. Come on now.
If you've been bag holding for a decade, you're back, baby. You're back.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I owned Denison Mines back like in 2010 during that Fukushima. I'm pretty sure I was long that one.
Yes.
Did not end
long
well
right now because you're about to go to all-time highs. So
nice.
Yes. Very nice call from my.
Send me the link for the schmooze tonight, Kenny. I might swing by.
All right, cool, brother. I'll see you later.
All right, adios.
Peace.
Getting some Kenny Glick, ladies and gentlemen. Getting some chatter in the chat here. JC talking out of his ass again. Let me tell you something. How awesome would it be if I could actually talk out of my ass? Like, that would be hilarious. What do you think my ass would say? I wish I could talk out of my ass. I cannot, unfortunately. That would be funny. Calling January the top in silver is a joke. Maybe it is the top. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's February. Maybe it's not till June. I have no idea. My suspicion is that there is going to be a 5 sigma event in precious metals. So many sigmas. A 5 sigma event in precious metals. It's going to come. I don't know when it's going to come. I'm talking to really smart people that are actually already trying to, put this trade on, have failed a few times. I have not at all. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'm going to short this thing. All I'm saying is, if you are a market participant out there and you got the stones, there is a massive, massive trade brewing there on the short side of silver. That's all I'm saying. I don't know when it's going to happen. Just keep an eye on that. And somebody asked me, still waiting for that short in Eli Lilly. Here's the key difference, right? Eli Lilly never broke down, so there was never a short. Stock prices trend. Commodity futures mean revert, right? Commodity futures are not stocks, right? So Eli Lilly may never be a short. Eli Lilly could go up for another several decades. Doesn't work that way in commodities in the futures market. That's the difference.
Well,
right?
it does look great right now.
What?
It doesn't look too good.
What doesn't?
Eli Lilly. It looks pretty.
Well, I mean, it was looking way worse like a year ago. There was, it looked like this thing could really fall apart. It doesn't look bad at all. It just hit new all-time highs a couple of weeks ago, Spencer. So
Right.
It's looking a lot better than it did a year ago. I'll tell you that much. But
I just want to look. If you've been here for a while, then you know that what I'm about to say is true. I want to, like, JC was talking about commodities and gold and metals 2 years ago, right? Okay, so were the guys of the gold rush. Okay, they were also talking about energy last year. Okay, for a lot of the year last year, especially last fall, right, and winter, right? Energy, metals left the station. Energy hasn't gone yet. That's what they were saying back then. Okay, both those things came true. So, huge tip of the hat to JC, to Jason, to Sam, all the guys that do the commodities.
I appreciate that a lot, Spencer. And then I think there's a bigger point here to make, and it's not about us, just in general. Like, obviously we were there. We've been long precious metals. We were talking about gold to 5,000 when gold was under 2,000. Spencer thought I was crazy.
Yeah, we did some live streams.
We did live events about it and everything. So me telling you that there's a complete collapse coming in the silver market is not coming from a place of frustration. It's not coming from a place of anger and rage and FOMO, like, oh my God, I missed it, so it needs to come down because I'm smarter than the market. No, it has nothing to do with any of that. We've been on this trade, and I'm here to tell you that it could certainly go a lot higher. I have one precious metal stock left in the portfolio. So if it goes higher, I'll make some money on that. And if it completely collapses, I'm going to get stopped out. So I'm good either way. I don't have a horse in the race. I'm just here to say that there is a monster opportunity brewing out there. And if you catch it, it could make your year. That's all I'm saying. I think that's fair, particularly from someone who is pounding the table to be long precious metals over the last couple of years, right? Not somebody who missed the trade completely. So there's a difference. So when you see all the frustration out there on the socials and everything like that, people fighting trends, in most of those cases, they come from a place of frustration, right? So it's important to recognize that. This ain't that. It's from a place of gratitude, in fact.
I'm trying to find.
My only frustration is I wish I owned more of the gold and silver.
All right.
Obviously.
We did a video. It was actually almost exactly 1 year ago about the commodities super cycle. Okay. That was a year ago. And I believe we did another. I think our first one was like in March, maybe April of 24 was the first time you mentioned the idea of buying commodities, right? And so, huge, again, you nailed it. That's all I can say. You nailed it.
What's hilarious is that how bearish I was at precious metals for so long up until that, Forbes actually came out with a funny article. This was at the end of 22. If you want to throw up the new slide 2 here, just as a reminder. So I had been bearish, hilariously so, for not so much bearish as much as out of the precious metals market, other than for just a trade. But even Forbes was laughing because I had been, such an anti-precious metals guy for so long that coming out and saying that gold is going to 5,000, kind of shocked everybody. Can you throw that up? Can you throw up that slide?
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
So what I want to reiterate is it's not a victory lap. It's to reiterate that I think that even despite a complete collapse in the silver prices and gold for that matter, that's not the end of the commodity super cycle, because these commodity super cycles don't last for a few years. They last for a decade or two. So I think that this trend is here to stay regardless of any corrections that we've seen. You can see here, longtime gold bear, JC Parets turns bullish, 5,000 possible. This is 2 years ago, guys. It's 2 years ago. Right. So I was a Johnny come lately into the gold market because I had been gone for so long, but it was time. There's a time and a place for everything. And I'm here to tell you that there is a massive correction coming. And maybe I take advantage of that on the short side, but I'm thinking bigger picture, we want to be buyers of that dip, right? If you see silver back in the 60s or 70s, I think we want to be buyers.
Look, I would love nothing more than to give JC shit, okay? But he freaking nailed this one. So give the guy his flowers and get off his ass. All right, we got Jeff Mackey in the house, and I want to talk about Starbucks. Is Starbucks back, Jeff? Maybe? I don't know. Let's find out.
I just don't like Starbucks. Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
What's up, boys? How's it going? How's it hanging? I love the silver talk because that you're disinterested until you get interested, and then it's just time to go away. Declare victory. You won, and you're declaring victory. You're not saying to short the whole world.
Yeah, but Mackie, even when you win,
you lose.
You lose because I didn't own enough, of course, right?
Yep,
so like even when you nailed it, absolutely nailed it. I mean, I'm not no regrets, right? You position size accordingly, and you live with the consequences. So I'm not actually, upset, but like I'm still human. I'm still like, fuck, I should have bought more.
Yep. And the instinct is to go for it, man, because you can't eat that headline. That's a glorious headline that you just popped up there. It turns out you can't sell it like a digital piece of finery
online. You can turn it into an NFT. You want to turn it into an NFT?
You can turn it into an NFT, see how that worked out for them. But, that's not a chart that occurs in nature. That's what a blow off tops looks like, which I think is your point. And so it's time to win. The hostility you're getting on the pushback where it's like, silver's going to the moon. All of a sudden,
this is the moon. It just landed. It landed on the moon.
We're here. Congratulations.
This is the moon that you were all waiting for, you see.
Yes, this is it. Now you've been to the moon. Just like American, just like kind of some of these denim stocks. You see trends.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly.
Mackie, I just don't like Starbucks. We're a Dunkin' Donuts family around here, right? We get the Dunkin' K-Cups. My wife, when she drops off the kids at school, she swings by Dunkin', brings me coffee. You can see it on the morning show. Every now and then I'm just like, you can see there's 2-hour delays going on here with all the snow. So I'm not getting my Dunkin' Donuts being handed to me in the middle of the show, unfortunately. But I just don't like the Starbucks. Do you?
I think it's fine. I mean, I thought it was fine kind of for a trade. I think there's only so far you can go with it. You've got Ben Affleck energy. A lot of people like Starbucks. They've got the advantage that America's just addicted to caffeine. We super like our caffeine. Starbucks has the most locations.
More so than other countries, you think, Jeff, or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh God, yes. There's a white paper buried deep in the Starbucks bowels where they talk about trying to get China addicted to caffeine the way we are. It was a multi-generational plan where they were just going to slowly up the level of caffeine in tea until people just wanted to go to the hard stuff and go to coffee, which worked out a little bit. It was a little creepy, but Brian Nickel, the new CEO, he came in to fix it. It was kind of run into the ground for a while. We had a nice comeback. They're finally comping positive. So more people are going to Starbucks. You're becoming a contrarian with your Starbucks hatred. Finally, for the first time in 2 years, people are going back to Starbucks. But it also illustrated it's really hard to make more money. Everything that you're talking about that's rallied before, that's all stuff you buy in dollars, which, by the way, is the same with coffee. And then you have tariffs. And then you have a zillion baristas who are paid preposterous amounts of money because Howard Schultz was a screaming liberal and decided they should unionize, and we're just going to give them $50 an hour to pour coffee. There's just not a lot of, yeah, it's crazy. There's not a lot of scale in that business, because now again, I see the guy and he just looks tired, because I don't think he can believe how much he has to pay these baristas just because they had hippie policies in 2018 and the years before that. They're sending people to college, which is a nice idea, but once you do that, once you start giving people the bonuses, it's really hard to take away.
What's the logic on paying these people this astronomical amount of money, like to literally do something that any idiot could do, no matter how dumb you are? You can
like a lot
still
of
do
stuff,
that
it works really well as long as you're a growth company, because it gets you the best workers and it got you the friendliest workers. And that worked really well until Starbucks stopped growing so fast. They tried to cut the benefits, and then all those super friendly workers just got really pissed off and started picketing in front of the store because you spent so long convincing them that their coffee is precious and their barista abilities are way beyond what the market should deserve. And so they felt entitled to it, and you can't pull it back. It's just kind of a cynical view of what happened there, but that's what's happening at Starbucks now. They had a nice quarter, they had nice comps, they had crap margins, and now you just have a company that's trading at 40 times earnings with almost no growth and profits. That's a tough combination. So, in the world of kind of consumerdom, they went to the big round number at 100 as a stock, kind of topped out there. I'm not sure how this gets to 50 times earnings anytime soon. I think the world of nickel as a manager, it's just, in a lot of these consumer names, they're a little commodity-esque, where you kind of want to ride them while they're hot and bail. I tried to make more money on Starbucks than it was really worth, but I feel like it's kind of a topping out story right now anyway.
I love what you did there with the muscles. Well done.
Thank you. She used to be naked. Like back in the day, that was the naked mermaid, the Starbucks, and so she's gone through a lot of iterations. Yeah, she was really racy back in the original conception.
And what happened? People were offended by the naked mermaid.
Yeah, I think so. They didn't want to see nipples on the mermaid, so I figured I can give her arms. Oh. I'm artistic. If they're going to take liberties with her, I will too, artistically speaking.
I'm more interested in the original one with the nipples than the big muscle lady, just between you and me.
Yeah, well, it's I'll draw one for you. I'll send it to you offline.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Speaking of, what a natural segue into Levi reported yesterday. The Sydney Sweeney operation that no longer has any affiliation with Sydney Sweeney, but AEO has no affiliation with Levi, actually. But Levi's reported fine numbers, another commodity product that, denim is 150 years old as pants. And so they go through hot trends. This company could honestly be run just by AI. Just entire, it's denim demand is going to come and go, and the management's out there taking credit. They're going to spend a fortune in advertising in the Olympics, really upping their budget and ads. They've turned in a fine quarter, but denim, the cycle's kind of come and gone. We've seen a peak. They forecast basically zero growth for this year. And Levi, like the Gap, they took a ton of credit for denim getting hot last fall. Pretty much the only person on earth who can claim that she drove that is Sydney Sweeney, and AEO only sold Sydney Sweeney stuff for about 2 months. So that was probably, overdone there. But you can see this is another one that you don't necessarily want to fall in love with it. That chart doesn't look as good as it did before. The advantage here over Levi is that AEO has a little more flexibility. I mean, Levi's talking, just talking crazy. They're going Canadian tuxedo all the way. They're like, we're making tops, we're making bottoms. Everybody wants denim all the time. This is going to be fantastic. Once the trend changes, man, not all the ads in the world are going to get.
Can you go back to the Canadian tuxedo, the Britney and what's his face from NSYNC? What's his name?
Justin Timberlake, man. Come on. You're not that young. You're old enough to know who Justin.
Come on, Jason.
Dude, I got a 5-year-old and twin 3-year-old. The last thing on my mind is Justin Tinkerbell, right? So why do they call this a Canadian tuxedo? I've always wondered that.
It was a pejorative, probably from Minnesota, because we like picking on smaller operations, which is why we just, anyone big can kind of shit on Minnesota, so we just turn it around and make fun of like Wisconsin and Canada. But yeah, it's the Canadian tuxedo because that's just kind of formal wear in Canada. You got a top and a bottom.
According to AI here, Mackie, It's a style that became famously associated in 1951 in an incident where singer Bing Crosby was denied entry into a Vancouver, Canada hotel for wearing an all denim attire.
Crosby, but yes.
Yeah, that guy, Bing Crosby.
Yeah,
I'm not sure AI's got that right. And I'll tell you what else. It's not always a Canadian tuxedo. It kind of depends on what region of the country you live in.
Didn't you buy Sean a Canadian tuxedo?
He did.
We did. And it was fashionable. And he was on the cutting edge of fashion for about 6 months, but it's time to put away the Canadian tuxedo. The denim trade is kind of come to an end, and we rode that. But like silver, we had a 34% rally in Levi. This is a stock that is essentially flat since it went public. I don't think they should be public at all, to be honest. They'll probably go private again sometime soon. But management has no real control.
Since we're giving flowers today, I want to give Mackie his flowers. Mackie was the only person on planet Earth who was saying out of the athleisure into the denim. Nobody was saying that. Nobody was saying that. Mackie, you fucking nailed it, man. You nailed that trade. So big shout out to
I took
Mackie.
heat both ways. Thank you very much, because I took a lot of heat for getting into athleisure before people liked it. That's how I knew it was right. Like you say, man, the more pushback you get, the more you're just like, I'm onto something here. I think we can do better than middle-aged fabrics that don't breathe and making your chestnuts roast as you're walking around in Manhattan. Let's have breathable products. Let's have nice fabric. And we did for a while, and it became clothing, and now it's just going to be cyclical like the rest of them. But last year we made that trade. That trade is kind of over we're not going to get a huge denim trend going on. It's going to be incumbent on companies like American Eagle that really capitalized it to go into different things. American Eagle also makes a ton of money in bras. At bras and panties, creepy words to say. I'm sorry for being an old guy using those words, but it's what's selling now. That's what they're called. I know. It's not my fault. It's not. I'm not using words like gusset.
You're good.
I could go into the specifics. Cups. We could talk about that. Either way, Sydney Sweeney, who's on an all-time heater, just an absolute genius, just on a roll. She's doing bras and panties now. She's not associated with American Eagle at all.
As she should. You know what I mean? I don't have that. I can't do that, right? But if I had that, that's what I would be doing. Right? I got other things.
She's walking around. She's like 7'3". If she was 7'3", you'd say, honey, going to basketball. You should be dunking someplace. Right. She was clearly built for that particular segment, and she's going into it. She's getting some publicity, making kind of strange movies, going to be super duper rich if she's not already, and deservedly so.
Good for her. Shout out America.
Well, last thing, Jeff, can we pour one out for one of Jeff's? Is this one of your favorite brands, Jeff? Allbirds? Is that what this is?
Allbirds, I kind of knew the Allbirds guy. They like sent me free shoes at one point. This is one of the great kind of shutdown stocks. Peaked at $577 a share, like reverse split adjusted. $4.1 billion market cap for wool running shoes. Now you talk about an idea that maybe some folks on the board should have pushed back on. We're going to make running shoes out of wool. Was maybe one of those ideas. It was burlap not available. You couldn't find like razor blades to put in the bottom of your feet. Anyway, they just announced they're closing all their stores. Stock is at $3, down from 4.1 billion to 32 million, which is lower. They had really, really expensive real estate, uncomfortable shoes that they sold from absolutely the most expensive locations in every single mall. And this is what most specialty kind of the life cycle looks like. You get a hot brand, you get a hot trend, you way overspend, your forecasts don't make any sense at all. Another company that if they would stay private, they would have had a nice little niche, but they, like Icarus, flew too close to the sun, melted, crashed, and burned.
I had a few pairs of this like 10 years ago. They were comfortable if you weren't moving.
Right. They were comfortable adjacent, right? And you'd feel kind of good about having them because they were sort of hip. They sent them to me for
they were
free,
like if you're going on an airplane, maybe, but you don't have to like change flights. You're going direct, or maybe you're flying private or something like that. You could just climb right in there, maybe. But God forbid you needed to go walking somewhere, or God forbid it was raining. Nightmare.
There's a reason they don't make workout
clothes.
It turns out wool stretches and it doesn't dry particularly well. And if you move around in it, there's a reason you don't make workout shorts out of wool. And for the same reasons you don't make shoes. Like you say, they were great until you tried to move in them, but it turns out moving is something you want to do. And so they ran into that cross section of, you know what, the
That's right.
functionality of a shoe you can't move in is going to meet the trend of people trying to get their steps in, and that's going to be a problem for the brand long
Yeah,
term.
that's a problem. Like, wearing these kind of shoes is not on the Perlman program.
No.
The whole thing of not moving for them to be comfortable, like, that's no good. That's called resistance, right?
He'd sooner go barefoot in the snow. He's not going to put wool on his feet.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff Mackey, a pleasure as always. We'll have you on in a few weeks, talk about Walmart earnings.
All right, my friend. And you work on
All
that cold. Spencer's going to be sick until his daughter's 24 years old.
I'm always sick. I'm just forever.
Dude,
always.
like a month or two ago, I had it for so long, man. It just doesn't go away. I know the feeling.
You got little petri dishes running around your house. Let me tell you something, boys. You get healthier when the nest empties. Anyway, good talking to you, kids. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right, Jeff. Love you, brother.
All right. Sean wanted to talk about silver. He sent us some silver charts.
Bring it, Sean. Dude, Mackey's hilarious. Like, we know he's funny, but he's also like DL funny too. Like, he throws some one-liners that like kind of go over most people's heads. He's on another level.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to pay attention.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, he just made fun of Phil there. I don't know if anybody caught that. How Phil doesn't wear shoes in the snow. He's not going to put wool shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to pay attention. He doesn't acknowledge his jokes. He just keeps on going, which I appreciate.
So good.
Keep going.
So good.
Yeah. All right.
I put this on because you guys were talking about my Canadian tuxedo, so I thought you'd like at least one part of it.
Yeah, one part of it. Literally think you're Canadian.
I don't think I'm Canadian. I grew up 5 minutes from the border. That makes you pretty Canadian.
And then Chicago's kind of Canadian too. Like, for an American city,
Chicago is not Canadian at all.
What?
I don't know. You got like the Polish, and Canada's kind of right there, and like Michigan's
Not
close,
even
and
close.
Wisconsin.
No.
Not even close. Canada's at least a 7-hour drive from Chicago.
It's west of the Hudson River, though.
Actually,
right?
no. You could get there in 4 hours if you go through Detroit.
It's like west of the Hudson River before you get to Vegas. That's
Shut
Chicago,
your mouth
right?
before you insult everybody that's watching this show.
No, I love Chicago. Remember we went last year and Strazza, or 2 years ago, right, a couple of falls ago, and then Strazza had never been. I was hyping up Chicago. Dude, I love Chicago, man. I freaking love it. I'm a big fan. And it's so close.
Great city, great city. Hey, before we get into the silver thing, I brought something to talk about on silver since you guys were talking about it so much. But before we get into that, I want to give like a little PSA to bullish traders out there. If you're bullish, which you should be, this is a bull market, right? But take a look at your portfolio right now, and something to be thinking about. If you got a lot of positions on, I've got a lot of positions on, right? If you got a lot of positions on, and right now you've been in them for a while and they're not working, if they're not working in this tape, they ain't going to work. So cut them out. I'm planning on doing a lot of that today. I'm going to be trimming a lot of positions that aren't working, because if it's not working in this tape, it's never going to work. So there's my little PSA, little service announcement, public service announcement to anyone who's managing a portfolio of any size. If you got bullish positions on that are not working now, what are you even doing? Get rid of them. All right, let's talk silver. Bring up the first chart there. Okay, so here's a chart where I was dead wrong. Okay, and that blue circle there, I was making the bet at that moment that silver was extended. All right, I said, man, I was thinking then, JC, what you were thinking this morning. I was like, man, this thing's got to go, or it's got to roll over here. It's got to roll over soon, right? We got to be close. So I put on a bearish bet using options, using a rarely used strategy that I don't use very often, but I put on a put ratio spread. So what that means is, why don't you flip to the next chart there, Spencer, so we can see a P&L graph of what this looks like. So what I did is I sold the 75 puts in February because I wanted to get a lot of premium, right? And I took that premium and bought 266 February puts. All right. So what that meant is I'm long more puts than I'm short. And if this thing were to crack, if it were to have a really big move down, which we think is coming at some point, it could really pay well. It has unlimited upside. Well, I guess if silver goes to zero, that's your limit. That's not going to happen, but we have no governor on how high our profits can go on the way down. The caveat being, because I put this trade on for a credit, right? I collected a little bit more for those 75 puts that it cost me to buy the 66 puts. If it continued going higher, at least both of those calls could expire, or both of those strikes could expire worthless, and I'll walk away keeping the profit. So go back to that other chart, Spencer, and that's exactly what happened. Silver kept going higher, and I was able to close that spread. I collected $1.50 when I went in. I was able to close it for 60 cents, and now I'm out. And I made money, and I was dead wrong. And I'm bringing that up because, JC, you were talking earlier that you don't know when it's coming. It could come tomorrow. It could come next week. It could come next month or next quarter. But at some point, there's going to be a rollover in this silver trade, and it could make your year. Well, that trade structure or something similar to what I had on could be that trade for you with minimal risk, with defined risk. And when you're talking about a situation where a stock or an ETF or anything is going parabolic, trust me, you want to trade it in a way where your risks are defined, because if you're wrong, it's a career ender. Okay?
100%. I'm not in the trade. I got some pushback in the chat saying I'm crazy. I love that, by the way. If everybody thinks I'm a genius and everybody thinks I'm onto something, I'm probably not. Right? So the fact that I got some pushback this morning, appreciate you guys. You got to keep me in check. Got to keep me in check.
Yeah. So I would encourage you, especially if you're into options, or if you're not into options, what are you waiting for? But anyway, if you're into options, I would, and you want to play for a reversal in silver or any other parabolic instrument that comes down the road over the next days and weeks and months, consider put ratio spreads. Now the math doesn't always work. Sometimes you can't get the strikes you want, so you got to be careful. But if you could put them on for a credit, that protects you if the parabolic move keeps going, but it also gives you an opportunity to really kill it if you nail the timing. So just food for thought.
I like it, Shawnee. I like it. Listen, guys, I gotta hop. I gotta go do. I have things. I'm a very important person. I have many leather-bound books.
Sure.
Rich
It's a
mahogany.
meeting in a room full of rich mahogany.
I have business papers, lots of business papers. So I got to go. I love you guys. Try not to get us canceled. Adios.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later today. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was sudden.
That's a hard exit.
Going to wrap us up. We can do that too. We're going live in 20 minutes. Stephen Weitzel. It is that time of year, folks. It is tax season. So Weitzel's going to talk about how to maximize your savings in your Roth IRA. Talk about that at 10. Kenny at 11. Strazza at 2. Sean at 3. Louis at 9. Crypto After Dark. Big day for us on the channel. Sean,
hey, listen, let me jump in real quick. That Stephen Weitzel thing coming on right after us. We got to see a preview, you and I, Spencer. We got to see a preview of that at the Portfolio Accelerator in Miami last week. And I'm telling you, if you're an active trader who hates paying taxes like me, I strongly encourage you to watch what Stephen has to say. It was a mind blower for me and is making me rethink a lot of things about how I structure my trading. You might do the same. So I encourage you to turn in and watch that show.
All right. We will see you there. Sean, thanks for stopping by. Let's get out of here. Everyone go make some money. Okay? Deal? Capiche? Capiche. Adios.
I can't take no loss. I don't need